Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jonna. This is Jonna OMG. Today I'll be reviewing Real Housewives of Atlanta season 15 episode 3. It's called A Star is Reborn, and child, was it? We'll see. So let's go ahead and get right on into the video. So we start this episode off with Sheree. She's hosting a brunch for Marlo. Who else is there? Marlo, Sonia, just Marlo and Sonia at the chateau. So they were just returning from BravoCon. So they were talking about kind of all the events leading up. Well, not leading up to BravoCon, but all the events that happened at BravoCon. So they talked about Mama Joyce, and Mama Joyce is still talking that ish about Todd. And I'm like, Mama Joyce, it's been years at this point. Like, it's getting old. Your daughter loves this man. So you just need to get on board at this point. Like, come on. So Sheree started talking about Martell. Like, Martell is kind. He's not the person that you see, the arrogant person that you see on TV. So I'm like, okay, so you know that that's in him though, right? Like, you just haven't seen it yet. So next we move on to Drew and Ralph, and they're going rock climbing. So as their date night or whatever, so Drew asked Ralph, like, how does he feel about her getting back into like her music career? And this man gonna say something, yeah, we just like Ike and Tina. I'm like, folks, like, Ike and Tina was a very toxic relationship. Like, that's not something you want to be compared to. That's not a relationship you want a comparison. Like, oh my goodness, like, stop. Yeah, I understand they were both like talented, but like, Ralph, like, I don't know, like, are you Ike level as far as producing? Drew, are you Tina Turner level as far as performing? Like, hold on a second. Like, you're moving too fast. Okay, so they move on to Kenya, and she has a performance coming up at a HBCU classic game, and she wants Monyetta to choreograph the routine for her. And I didn't even realize Monyetta was a choreographer. Like, and I guess that's maybe how she, because Monyetta is Neo's ex-wife, right? So I guess that's how they met, but I never even realized what she did for a living, honestly. So Kandi and Don Juan are meeting up, and they discussing Kandi's must list. And child, Kandi has so many things on her plate. Like, no wonder Ace is saying, Mama, you work too much. Like, oh my goodness. She had the weekly live show with Amazon. And then they're finna start Candy Coated Nights, a podcast. Then she got the Soul Train Awards coming up. Ebony Power 100 event, then her Candy Cares event, Blaze's birthday, some call Celebrity Gang Face, so who knows what that is. And there were more things that were actually written on the board. I think I seen something about the Escape Tour, something else. I'm like, girl. And then on top of all that, trying to help Todd produce this movie. Like, girl, you doing a lot, sis. You doing a lot. So they go into Mama Joyce and some of the statements that she was making at BravoCon. And she just say, somebody had asked her a question like, what type of man would you want your daughter to date? First of all, that question was so out of pocket too, because I'm like, Kandi is a whole married woman out here. So what do you mean? What type of man do you want her to have? Anyway, so she was like, she want her daughter to just have anybody else with a with a decent job. And I'm like, lady, Todd was a whole producer, and now he's a businessman. Now, granted, he needed Kandi to venture off into the ladder, but nevertheless, Kandi says she's just tired of the BS, and I wonder if she's actually communicating that to her mom, because it's just really getting out of hand at this point. Well, it's been out of hand, honestly, but it's just getting old and tired, the stuff that Mama Joyce is saying to Todd. And I know he fed up with it. He just like, whatever at this point. But I'm sure it bothers him really to his core. So we move back on to Drew, and she's FaceTiming Candiace Dillard from Potomac. So Candiace invites Drew to come on tour. She has a stop in Atlanta to sing with her. I guess Shamari. Y'all remember Shamari, right? Shamari DeVoe was supposed to come, but she can't come anymore. So she asked Drew to fill in her place. So Drew is having her husband, Courtney is her husband's cousin now, apparently. I honestly feel like they made up that cousin thing just so Drew can have another ally. Cause really, Drew kind of on the island by herself. Like, I mean, people, they like Drew. Like, I think Kandi, Kenya, maybe they like Drew, but she really don't have an ally on the show. So I think Courtney's just gonna end up being her ally, which is fine. So Courtney invites her husband over to Drew's. Take that back. Not her husband, her co-parent. I don't know if they were ever married, if they're divorced, but she says they're co-parents and friends. So his name is Bryce. He used to be an actor, or maybe still an actor. Drew said they did a movie together. She didn't name the movie, so I'm not sure. But I remember him from Beauty Shop with Queen Latifah. He had the braids. He was dating the girl from Clueless in the movie. Y'all remember him, right? I think that's the same guy. Probably should have fact checked, but it looked like him. I got the eye. Anyway, so Drew calls Kandi while she was with Courtney, and why, might you ask, did she do that? Easy. To be messy. Because I'm like, Drew, I know you weren't present for the Harlem Nights party when Kandi and Courtney got into it, but Ralph definitely relayed what transpired back to you. And I'm sure some of the other girls told you too that Courtney and Kandi aren't beefing right now. So why would you call Kandi right then? You could have sent her a text, or you could have waited to call Kandi after Courtney left. Like, you was trying to be messy, honestly. So anyway, Drew's telling us she wanted to share the news with Kandi about her singing with Candiace. But I'm like, you didn't call none of the other girls. You only called Kandi. So I'm like, anyway, girl. So they're sitting at the table, and Drew decided to warn Courtney about Sonya's behavior. Granted, I do think she's kind of afraid of confrontation. So I can see her lying to Courtney about confronting Kandi. Courtney was saying that Sonya told her to confront Kandi, and then when she brought it back up to Sonya, Sonya was like, I didn't tell you to say that. I didn't say that at all. But honestly, Courtney, your issue with Kandi was just make-believe. It's a fairy tale. It wasn't a real issue. You just trying to do something at this point. So anyway, Drew says that Sonya had unfollowed her on Instagram. So we really just don't know where Drew and Sonya's friendship is right now. Who knows? So Marlo is riding around with her nephews. She does mention that she lost a nephew a few years ago due to gun violence. So Marlo asked the boys she asked one of the boys if he likes the life coach. And child, the hesitancy on that child's face, he could have cracked the windshield. I'm just like, goodness. And then she asked the boys if they saw a change in her, and then the youngest was like, I can tell that you're trying. And I was like, oh, well, at least she's trying, right? But that other one, he was quiet as a mouse. He didn't say nothing. I'm like, okay, I don't know if he believes Marlo trying that hard, actually. Okay, so we are here. Candiace and Drew's performance. So Sonya did show up, which I think is good. Step in the right direction. She said she wants to move forward with Drew. So great. So, y'all, Drew had on some, like, Fendi outfit. I did not like it. Like, I wanted her to be a little bit more sexy. Like, she should have matched Candiace vibes. Candiace had on this, like, leather leotard. Was really, like, sexy. And then Drew come up with these Fendi baggy shorts. And I'm like, girl, baggy shorts? Like, and wasn't even swagged out. And, like, not at all. And I was just like, Drew, like, just because it's name brand doesn't mean it's cute. Okay? Wasn't cute. Side note, what is up with Ralph and all these shots? He was trying to take shots at the house, which is fine. He coming over, yeah, y'all, let's take some shots. I guess for Drew's performance, which we're finna get into in a second. So Drew hops on stage and they sing a little me, do do do, la la la. That sounded good. Y'all, it wasn't even a full song. Like, I think production captured. It was like 40-something seconds. Like, girl, Like, the performance to me was a little lackluster. Like, all the girls was like, oh, you did so good. Yeah, they wanted her to be out there a little longer, which I would have too. Like, you invited these ladies out to watch you perform and you up there for a couple seconds. Like, girl. Anyway, so they give her flowers. They all, after Candiace's performance, they all go to the backstage area. So they talk about Sonya and Drew friendship. So Sonya does tell Drew that she unfollowed her because Drew made a pose like flipping her hair in Sonya's face, which she did on the last reunion. So she made her hair. She was like, I'm flipping on the flip flopper or something like that. So Sonya thought it was a jab, which it was. Why else would you post that? It was obviously a jab towards Sonya. So she was like, she didn't want that negativity on her timeline toward her. So she unfollowed Drew. But they did decide to squash the beef. But watch. Mark my words. Drew's going to bring it up again. Drew's going to bring something up again about Sonya. And by the end of this season, they're going to be back into it. Watch my words. I said it on episode 3 review. Watch. So anyway, so not Candiace. So Kandi decides to address Courtney for the statement that she made to Sonya. Remember, Courtney had said something about Kandi kind of brings the hood out, insinuating that Candi's ghetto or whatever. So Courtney basically decides to double down, talking about, but I love it. I love the hood. I'm from the hood. I'm like, girl, shut up. But like, that does not work. Like, you tried to call that girl ghetto, like, bottom line. So here we go again. Courtney trying to be a little rat-ta-ta. And I'm like, Courtney, you really need to calm down because you're picking a fight with Kandi over nothing. Like, literally nothing. Like, you're grasping at straws at this point. I mean, she was clapping, getting all loud. Of course, Kandi decides to get back loud with her. She was like, well, you the ghetto one. You the one who said you trying to claim the hood. Well, you ghetto. Like... Courtney, you're so bothered. You're so triggered. Like, girl, you just tried to call me ghetto and I bring the hood out. Like, I'm a businesswoman. What do you mean I'm triggered? Like, Courtney, go on somewhere with that. So I just really already know I'm not going to be the biggest fan of hers. I just don't know how to move forward. So the girl tried to Drew tries to ask Kandi about the shooting at her restaurant. And she basically shuts it down, saying that it's a private matter. But I'm like, girl, you can't be too private because the news covered it. I mean, I understand it's a legal matter, but you got to say something. I'm sure there's something you can say about that shooting. Like, it was on the news. You said something in your confessional. Like, tell these girls something. Drew said she was at the restaurant 2 days before the shooting had happened. So... I'm like, girl, it's a TV show. You got to give us something, okay? So 30 minutes after production had wrapped, Marlo and Drew were talking. So Marlo was all riled up and she was upset at Drew because Drew didn't mention the actual word shooting when she was referring to Kandi. She said something like the incident at Blaze. So apparently Marlo's nephew used to work for Kandi at Old Lady Gang and he got shot. Now he didn't get shot at the restaurant. He got shot, I think like with a roommate or something. So Marlo basically feels like it's unfair for Kandi to get away with not talking about things. And she also felt like Kandi really didn't have any care or concern when it came to her nephew. It seemed as though the nephew used to work at Old Lady Gang. And I guess Marlo just feel like she's up to here with Kandi. Now, I will mention that Kandi does get away with not sharing as much. I think she just tries to share enough. But, yeah, when it comes to, like, her businesses and stuff, I don't know if she... Well, she does. I mean, I guess she has the Old Lady Gang TV show. So I feel like maybe she wants to use that as the promo. Like, hey, if you want to know about the business side of Kandi, watch the spinoff show. I don't know. Nevertheless, that was the end of the episode. I thought it was okay episode. I'd probably give it about a 6, 5.5, 6. So yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what was your favorite moments or moment you want to talk about in the comments below, and we'll chat there.